Welcome everyone to Fett's Legacy. My name is Taryn, and I'm back today to talk about a new cameo in Chapter 6 of the Book of Boba Fett. So guys, this means spoiler warning for that episode. If you haven't seen the latest episode, please go watch that first. And second, guys, please like and subscribe. I appreciate all the support you guys have given me. It really helps me out a lot. So guys, let's move on. Before we start talking about everything that happened, I do want to say the character we are talking about is Cad Bane. He is finally back in Star Wars. I never thought we'd see him in live action, and I didn't think we'd see him in the show. I thought it was a bit of a stretch, as we haven't seen him in any content post the Clone Wars until the Bad Batch recently. So we hadn't seen him in any comics, and you know, he wasn't in Empire Strikes Back with all those bounty hunters. They kind of explained that in this episode, kinda, but not really. So Cad Bane pulls up to Mos Pelgo, now known as Freetown. It has been renamed, and you know, he's about to duel Cop Vanta. They start talking. He tells Cop Vanta, you know, we'll pay whatever Boba is paying you for you to just let the spice keep going. And this kind of hints that he's working for the Pikes, but guys, I think that's just misdirection. I don't think he's working for the Pikes. I think he is working for Crimson Dawn, and that is who the spice is being sold to in the first place, because they are moving the spice and selling it, but who are they selling it to, right? So I think they're selling it to Crimson Dawn. I think Cad Bane is working for Crimson Dawn, which means we might see Kira in the next episode as well, which that is awesome. I'm always down for that. So guys, Cad Bane shows up, and he says, you can't trust Boba Fett. You know, he's a cold-blooded killer, and he's worked with the Empire. I do want to say, he didn't really work with the Empire. He worked for the Empire. Boba Fett never really had love for the Empire. He did not care about the Empire. He didn't like the Empire. But he saw them as a resource, and they paid, you know, insane amount of credits for simple jobs usually. So Boba Fett saw them as a resource, and it helped him in future bounties, right? Just having that access to old Imperial codes, and just you know, having that relationship open with people like Darth Vader. Like, as a bounty hunter, when you're trying to make it to be the best in the galaxy, you know, you can't really especially as a bounty hunter, like, you're gonna differentiate who you work for. Like, they're all kind of scumbags, you know what I mean? So and Boba, like I said, he doesn't love the Empire. And most of the time he was working for Jabba, and he worked for a lot of different people. So I wouldn't say he worked with the Empire, but that's just what Cad Bane says. Obviously, he's trying to sell that Boba is the bad guy, but really, guys, Cad Bane is the bad guy of the show, and I'm all for it. You know, he is clearly the rival to Boba. I don't know if you guys saw, but he looked like he had some blue Mandalorian gauntlets on, and obviously, guys, I will talk about that later in a theory. But he has some blue Mandalorian gauntlets to oppose Boba's red Mandalorian gauntlets. Obviously, that's a bit of a clash, blue and red, and he's definitely going to be Boba's rival. So, guys, I do want to talk about a deleted scene back in the Clone Wars. Dave Filoni made a deleted scene to explain Boba Fett's dent in his helmet, and basically how he went on to become known as the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, and was to explain how Cad Bane died and why he wasn't in any of the material. Obviously, they brought him back now because he's just a really cool character, and you know, more Cad Bane, I'm not going to be upset with that, right? So, in the deleted scene, Boba, as I think he was 14 in the deleted scene, he was very young. He had just gotten his father's armor fitted to him. He was just kind of becoming like a man at that point. Really starting to get into the bounty hunting game for sure, and become a real player. So he gets into a duel with Cad Bane. Obviously, he's wearing Mandalorian armor, and Cad Bane wasn't. So they actually shoot at the exact same time, and you know, Cad Bane was supposed to die, and he gets a dent in his helmet. For me, honestly, the fact that Boba Fett can match Cad Bane's speed, where I know it's a deleted scene, it's not canon, but to match his speed in a duel at 14, I mean, I think that says everything you need to know about Boba Fett. Like I said, guys, he was known as the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, and apparently Cad Bane has been alive this whole time. So for him to take that mantle while he's been alive, it just shows Boba Fett is clear. He's the best bounty hunter in the galaxy. Not anymore. Obviously, he's not a bounty hunter, but he was. So, guys, I do want to mention, in the Bad Batch, when Cad Bane reappears, he has a metal plate on his head, on the top of his head, and I think this is them trying to make the deleted scene canon, where Boba got the dent in his helmet, and Cad Bane was obviously shot in the head. But yeah, so they're saying that he survived either due to the metal plate, or he just survived and then they put the metal plate over it. But yeah, like that is really cool to see. And so he comes back in the new universe. Obviously, like I said, I think he's working for Crimson Dawn, and so he goes into town. And, Cop Vanta tells everyone to go inside. He can tell what's about to go on here. I love the Western vibes of this show. That was, like, this episode had such Western vibes. Cop Vanta and Cad Bane, it was so cool. They got Cad Bane's voice and look down perfect. I loved it. It was so awesome. And, Cad Bane, he is a duelist. He is the duelist, right? You don't want to get into a duel with him unless you're really confident and you're top tier. So the only people I'd say can really compete are, again, Boba, Mando, and Cop Vanta are probably the people I'd say definitely have a shot. Now, again, you might be saying, well, Cop Vanta lost. Here's the thing, guys. The deputy really screwed Cop Vanta over because he had to pay attention to the deputy and Cad Bane. So he's kind of not really focused, as where, we saw him pull out his gun and kill 3 Pikes before they could even move, really. He's clearly a duelist. He's a gunslinger. He's a cowboy, pretty much. So I still think Cad Bane would beat Cop Vanta, but it definitely would have been a lot closer. And the way I know this is, even Cad Bane knew, like, Cop Vanta is the guy not to mess with, because he grabbed his pistol and just hit Cop Vanta in the shoulder. I don't think Cop Vanta's dead, obviously. But he wanted to get him as fast as possible because he knows he's the duelist. He's the guy I got to go for first. But he didn't get the killing shot because he had to go from him and then just take out the deputy, which the deputy is obviously dead, guys. He took quite a lot of shots to the gut. But yeah, so Cad Bane is not the guy you want to mess with. He says, let the spice keep moving through and no one will get hurt. Obviously, Cop Vanta and the rest of Freetown are not going to take that, and they will go and fight for Boba in the next episode. So, guys, here's where my theory comes into play. So, as I mentioned before, Cad Bane has those blue Mandalorian gauntlets. And as we know in Mandalorian society, if you're not a Mandalorian, you cannot wear Mandalorian armor. If you're not a foundling, if you're not from Mandalore, you're not allowed to wear it. This is why Din Djarin actually takes Boba's armor from Cop Vanta, because he's not a Mandalorian. So I think in the next episode, Cad Bane will obviously appear during the whole war, and I think Din Djarin is going to see that he has Mandalorian gauntlets on, basically tell him, like, you got to give those back. Those don't belong to you. And I think they're going to fight. And at the end of the day, guys, like, I love Din Djarin, great character, but this is Cad Bane we're talking about. So I think Cad Bane is going to defeat Din Djarin and take the Darksaber for himself. And again, this plays into my previous theories, guys. I think then Boba is going to have to come in and fight Cad Bane, whether that's in a duel like him and Cop Vanta had, like Cop Vanta and Cad Bane, or if they actually have like an actual fight flying all over the place. Obviously, Cad Bane has jetpack like thrusters on his boots as well, so he can fly. And now that he's Mandalorian gauntlets, he probably has a flamethrower, maybe the wire, a couple other things. Maybe you can customize it to whatever you want. So obviously he's going to clash with Boba, and I think he's going to win the Darksaber from Din, and then Boba will win it from Cad Bane, and Din Djarin will see that Boba is the rightful ruler. He'll notice the mythosaur on his right shoulder, and again, like I said, Boba is the quote-unquote mythosaur rising up for a new age of Mandalore, and he's the leader, right? Like he seems like a leader. Din doesn't really want to lead, so I think he's going to realize after seeing him maybe riding a Rancor, which I definitely think we'll see, and taking out a bunch of Pikes and maybe Crimson Dawn workers, whatever they have, their muscle. I think he's going to realize Boba Fett should rule, and then Boba Fett will win the Darksaber from Cad Bane. And I don't think they'll kill off Cad Bane because he just gives so much more depth to every story now, right? You can add him into every story. He can be a great villain, but I don't think he's gonna beat Boba. I think obviously this is Boba's show. I think Boba is gonna end up coming out on top, winning the Darksaber, and then becoming the Mandalore and ruling over the Mandalorian people. So guys, let me know what you guys think of my theory down in the comment section below. Like I said, I was up all night thinking about some of these theories. I stayed up till 3 a.m. to watch this, and I could not fall asleep after. I was so excited. I cannot wait for next week. So guys, let me know what you guys think of my theory. Do you think Boba Fett will fight Cad Bane for the Darksaber? Let me know. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed Chapter 6 of the Book of Boba Fett. It was a great episode. I loved it. And yeah, Cad Bane is back, guys. It's so crazy.